Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of October 8th to the 14th, though, of 2023, though. And I do want to say happy birthday to the United States Navy, though. This was their, I think it was their 248th birthday. I apologize if I get that date wrong, everything like that. Though, you know, we had, where I work, though, down at the Chow Hall, down at Camp Pendleton, we had, you know, like steak, lobster tail, potatoes, so some really good stuff down there. I mean, so basically a happy 248th birthday to the fighting men and women of the United States Navy. Obviously, next up, I think in November, will be the Marine Corps birthday and everything like that. So happy birthday to the Navy, and I salute all the fighting men and women in the Navy forces and all. But anyway, we got 4 stories to cover this week, including basically the conclusion, hopefully this is the conclusion, but the conclusion of the Microsoft Activision deal and everything like that. The CEO of Unity stepping down after the whole debacle of the situations that have been going on, though. The Sony finally revealing the PS5 Slim and everything like that. And apparently there is a report coming out that Lord of the Rings Gollum game, that apology that the developers put it out, though, that may have not been their apology or their original apology after all, at least if this report is true, though. If you're interested in where I got source of these information, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. Excuse me. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cent stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one is that there is a rumor going around in terms of report that Nintendo may have hired a new voice actor to voice Mario and everything like that. As you probably are aware, Charles Martinet has sort of retired basically as voicing Mario. Is now supposedly what he's dubbing, being the Mario ambassador. What I'm still not 100% sure how that's going to play out, though. However, it seems to be there has been some other reports seem to come out that some of the rumors about who this voice actor might be, it may have not been this person or not. So whatever the case is, I am very curious to see who is voicing Mario, who is replacing Charles Martinet as the original voice actor for, you know, the Mario games and everything like that. So it's going to be very interesting, especially once Super Mario Bros. Wonders comes out, a game that I'm definitely looking forward and definitely want to try out myself, though. We also learned that Hideki Kamiya has basically launched his own YouTube channel at this time, and revealed his upcoming plans, though. Supposedly right now he can't get a job, or he's still going to work in the game industry, but can't, you know, work on anything at this time. Mostly it has to do with a clause or anything like that, though. Personally, I have mixed feelings about Hideki Kamiya. I don't doubt that he has produced really great games. The Devil May Cry series is, for example, the Bayonetta series, though, Mad World, Infinite Space, and even helped produce Astro Chain, a very fun game on the Nintendo Switch. But he's also been a very controversial person known for trolling people and blocking people on Twitter. It'll be interesting if he does that on YouTube, to be exact, though. So we'll see what his plans are, what his future is, to be exact. We also learned that the Switch version of Mortal Kombat is getting a new update, though, that supposedly will improve the visuals and all. Now, as you're probably aware, Mortal Kombat 1 is out everywhere and everything like that, but the Switch version got hammered the most, mostly due to the visuals, though. While I don't deny that compromises had to be made to get the game running on the Switch, though, some felt like this was like a half-ass approach in terms of what they did. So we'll see if over time the Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 gets any improvements on the visual sides or anything like that. We also learned that supposedly Nintendo has sort of been doing some promotions for Super Mario Bros. Wonders, and one of those seems to be a short where basically Bowser is giving a flower to Princess Peach, and then I think looks like the elephant fruit or berry or something, the thing that you use to turn into Elephant Mario into the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and it showed Peach turning into Elephant Peach, to the point that basically Bowser going from handing Peach one flower to like an entire bouquet of flowers and all. So interesting, to be exact. And now this has sort of spread into, wait a minute, does Bowser like thick people or thick women or anything like that? So it's just sort of an odd short though, but it is a very interesting short to be exact. We also learned that basically the Financial Times believes that Japan should sell Nintendo and everything like that. Personally, I don't think Nintendo is going to be up for sale anytime soon at this moment though. One, unless I'm missing something, I don't see how the government of Japan owns Nintendo and all. And two, the only way I could see a scenario where Nintendo is definitely up for sales would have to be if Nintendo is in absolute or on the verge of financial ruins. And right now, given the success some of their IPs, including the success of the Mario Bros. Movie, along with how well the Switch has been doing though there are indications it's slowing down and we're possibly moving towards the Switch successor or Switch 2, I do not foresee a scenario where Nintendo is going to be up for sale anytime soon. So I do not see this happening at all, or at least not at the foreseeable future at this time. We also learned that the PlayStation Network suffered supposedly an outage overnight and everything like that. Supposedly there were certain issues and everything like that, but supposedly that got resolved. But it does kind of bring up some issues about how Sony has handled some of their outages or, those kind of issues to be exact. We also learned that supposedly Microsoft is going to plan to appeal, as it apparently they are being sued or fined for basically missing out on $28.9 billion in back taxes and everything like that. Now, again, I don't know the financial situation or the whole IRS or anything like that though, but if this is true and they basically did not pay any of these back taxes, and I would say, yeah, you probably should. I don't think they should get a free pass or anything like that, providing these allegations are true and everything like that. We also learned that supposedly Ubisoft believes that Assassin's Creed Mirage, the newest entry in the Assassin's Creed series, seems to have been one of their biggest next-gen launches so far, though. Right now, they haven't given any sales numbers or data or anything like that, but it seems as though the game, at least according to Ubisoft, seems to be off to a very good start for them and all. We'll see over time. I'm curious to see what the Circa/NPD charts show where Assassin's Creed Mirage is, though. But right now, at least according to Ubisoft, they're saying it's off to a very good start. We also learned that the Activision Blizzard deal, which I'll talk about in part 4, seemed to have avoided another EU probe. This was considered after it was later learned that how Activision Blizzard basically will sell, or Microsoft would sell, some of the cloud rights to Ubisoft that would stream some of the games in the UK, which is supposedly one of the concerns of what the CMA had when they blocked the deal in April and all. When that list was announced, there were concerns whether or not this would require another probe, at least from the EU, which after CMA blocked it in April, they gave the go-ahead for Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard. Well, it seems like the EU is okay with this. They don't seem to be any problem with what they're doing with, Ubisoft and everything like that. So obviously they avoided a probe and everything like that. We also learned that Shinji Mikami, the creator, who helped the Resident Evil series, but also working on Evil Within series 1 and 2, and of course earlier this year's the surprise hit Hi-Fi Rush, basically is teasing to return to work after supposedly, like Hideki Kamiya, a non-complete complete clause, if I'm saying the name correctly, supposedly, for preventing him from doing work or anything like that. So it does sound like he's not completely retiring from the gaming industry at all. What he does from here remains to be seen. So I'm very curious to see what he's going to be doing going forward in the foreseeable future. And last but not least, we are learning that there are some reports coming out that Disney might be looking to require major publishers like EA and all. This comes as there seems to be some executives that are pushing head of Disney, Bob Iger, to start looking at the idea of buying studios and buying video game studios, which is interesting considering supposedly back in 2016, they decided to end, developing games from themselves and decided to license the games out or everything like that. But it is also possible that maybe following, the failure of Square Enix Avengers game and other games to be exact, though, they figure it's best to have them develop the games themselves. As far as the push for EA, I mean, if the Iron Man or the Black Panther or that Black Panther Captain America game set in World War II does very well for them, it's possible Disney might consider the idea of buying EA and all. I mean, we did hear about EA possibly being purchased by NBC Universal, but that deal kind of fell apart. So time will tell if Disney decides to buy EA or anything like that, though. And finally, in the movie and TV side of the My 2 Cent video, you're learning from the Hollywood Reporter that supposedly the SAG, the actor strikes, the talks have currently now suspended, though. So just as the writer strike was coming to an end, the actor strike, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. So obviously we may be still in somewhat of a long haul with the whole, Hollywood strike going on. So one problem may have been resolved, but this one hasn't been yet, though. We also learned that Marvel is certainly looking into the situation with Jonathan Majors. For those who don't know, he plays Crane. He first made, I believe he made his first appearance in, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and will appear in several episodes of Loki Season 2, which is out now on Disney Plus, though. It definitely puts Marvel in a very tough spot, considering the allegations that Jonathan Majors is currently facing at this time, and it will be very interesting to see what Marvel decides to do with him going forward. However, there has been a new fire, though. It seems as though that Marvel has now fired one of the writers for basically MCU's Phase 5 TV show, and that supposedly was Daredevil Born Again. While the writers who still get producer credit, it does seem like that show might see even a much bigger delay. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Daredevil Born Again. We also have a new trailer for Monarch Legacy of Monsters, a latest entry into the MonsterVerse series, with Godzilla and King Kong, though. I'm definitely looking forward to this one, though. I do enjoy the MonsterVerse, though. I just recently finished watching Skull Island on Netflix, though. That's the animated series that takes place in the MonsterVerse and everything like that, though. Definitely enjoyed that one. I am looking forward to seeing what Season 2 might be like, if a Season 2 does happen and all. And last but not least, and I know this one's going to be extremely controversial no matter what I'm going to say, though, is that a lot of Hollywood companies and stars have reacted to currently what's going on in Israel right now. As if some of you are aware, Hamas committed a heinous attack on Israeli civilians, not to mention several other people from other countries, including America, to be exact, though. And right now, there's a major conflict going on between Israel and Hamas as we speak. To be exact, though, I mean, it's very tragic what's going on down there. Really, really is, though. And I think we don't know how this is all going to play out down there. This is what Hamas did, was just horrendous on so many levels and all. But at the same time, you cannot also ignore the citizens of Gaza who are sadly and unfortunately caught in the middle of this because of what Hamas did and everything like that. So, I mean, a lot of celebrities, a lot of stars are speaking out against this. I mean, Sarah Silverman has spoken out against this. So we're seeing even late night talk show hosts have spoken out on this as well. So it's a very troublesome situation what's going on in the world or anything like that. I posted my thoughts on the situation on the community tab on YouTube if you want to check that out and everything like that. Okay, with the quick my 2 cent part now done, and along with the movie and TV show part as well, we're now going to get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the Lord of the Rings Gollum game, and an interesting situation that kind of popped up with this though. Now, as some of you are aware, that game basically was released on multiple systems outside of the Switch. No one knows what's going to happen with the Switch version, although honestly, I would not be surprised if that version gets canceled in any way or in any form though. But it got hammered really bad with a lot of the reviews and basically was dubbed like one of the lowest rated games on Steam, basically beating out Redfall, which recently had an update with that 60 FPS patch and everything like that. So apparently after that game was released, there were reports about what the developers or the publishers were doing as they decided to end game development and everything like that, to promising that they would fix the game and so forth. And one of the things, this all came out through their apology letter. Well, it turns out that apology may have not come from the developers itself, as it now seems to indicate that it may have came from, the use of AI and all. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it reads that, quote, excuse me, in an interview with German gaming outlet Game2, several former Datica, if I'm saying the company correctly, staff members have spoken for the first time about what went wrong with the critically panned licensed game. Following the release of Gollum, Datica apologized for delivering what is called an underwhelming experience with the final game. The company said, "We deeply regret that the game did not meet expectations and pledged to improve it via future updates though." It is now being claimed that the apologies was written with an AI software, ChatGPT, according to two sources speaking to Game 2. It also claims that developer Datica had no knowledge of the apology or its counter content prior to publishing, and that it was handled entirely by publisher Nancon. No, at the time of publishing, Gollum is the lowest rated game of the year on both major aggressive site Metacritic and OpenCritic, with The Guardian labeling it a deprived, uninteresting, and fundamentally broken stealth action adventure that fails to capture anything interesting in and anything about Tolkien's fiction though. Gollum development budget is reported to have been around 15 million euros, a modest sum for a game in the AAA space in 2023. There were people working on the game that have been developing for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're good, but they can't do magic because they weren't given the funds, said a former senior developer technical director. It was also claimed in the video that due to running out of time before 2023 release, several characters and cutscenes were meant to be animated, were simply hidden from the players and everything like that. It also points out a couple of other things as well. So to hear the fact that they used an AI program to write this apology is to me, it is a little bit scummy and all that, because then you have to wonder, should we take their apology that serious and everything like that if they're basically using AI to produce this apology and all? So does not look good for the developers and everything like that, and the publisher as well. I mean, this is pretty bad though, especially when a game like that was launched in a very, very pitiful state and all. And it does kind of throw into questions when people, put out apology statements. Are we now have to suddenly realize, was this written by AI? Was this actually written by an actual person and everything like that? So yeah, it just adds another black eye to this whole Gollum situation and everything. And so overall, yeah, not really great things for the Gollum game and all. And I think this just adds another nail to the coffin, and God knows whether or not the game will actually get fixed or anything like that. And like I said before, as far as the Switch version goes, despite them claiming it's coming to the Switch, I'm not holding my breath that it's going to happen. I really am not, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with the announcement of the PS5 Slim. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the announcement Sony made in terms of their new version of the PS5, the PS5 Slim. Now, during the PS4 and Xbox One era, what we did see were certainly refreshments or mid-gen refreshments on to be exact. For the PS4, we got basically was the PS4 Pro, and then of course we had a much slimmer PS4. The PS4 Pro was mostly pushing it up to producing, 4K and everything like that. For the Xbox One, we had basically stuff like the Xbox One S to the Xbox One X, though, to basically ones that pushed up into the 4K and everything like that. This was before, the Xbox Series X and S came out and everything like that. So when the PS5 eventually came out and was announced, though, there were many that were speculating when we would see something like, say, a PS5 Pro or anything like that. And there were rumors for quite some time on that to even sort of a slim version of the PS5. And while it remains to be seen if a PS5 Pro is going to happen or not, we now know that basically the PS5 Slim has basically happened, including the rumors that turned out to be true in terms of it having a detachable disk drive and everything like that. According to what is Sony saying, this is off from their PlayStation blog, though, it says that, quote, the new PS5 has been reduced in volume by more than 30% and weighs about 18% and 24% compared to the previous model. There are 4 separate cover panels with the top portion in a glossy look while the bottom remains in matte. If you purchase the PS5 Digital Edition, you can now add an Ultra Blu-ray disc drive for the PS5 later, as well as it's sold separately for around $80, though, in the US and everything like that, though. The new PS5 model will be available starting this November in the US at selected retailers and directplaystation.com wherein available. It will continue to roll out globally in the following months. Once inventory of the current PS5 model has sold out, the new PS5 will become the only model available, though. In terms of the retail price, though, they have it in the US. It's going to be, with the Blu-ray disc drive, it's going to be $500, while the digital version will be $450. That's not counting if you want to buy that detachable Blu-ray drive to it, though. They point out the price in the Euro, the UK, and Japan. They also point out that a horizontal stand will be included with the new PS5 model. Also, a new vertical stand compatible with all PS5 models will be available, sold separately for around $30 and all. So, and they showed the picture of the cover and everything like that. So basically, the outside of basically the slimmed down version, it's basically still has the same hardware components that basically, basically the PS5 that the regular PS5 does have. So the only real difference is basically they just slimmed it down and everything like that. Now, that may not be a bad thing for those who don't have a PS5 yet and are looking to try to get one, and maybe you're not a big fan of like the big bulky look to it, though. You like something a bit smaller, have more room in wherever you're going to place it. And also, this may not be necessarily a bad thing, but I just don't see any reason to get it if you already own a PS5 and you're okay with, the bulky look and everything, or where you put it, though. So I just don't see any reason to get this one if you already own one, to be exact. As far as the attachable disk drive, though, I mean, while that certainly is interesting, and it's very interesting that this rumor comes out to be true, the problem is that the disk drive is basically $80, so, and you're having it at $450, so 80, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you may be paying a bit more if you basically get the digital plus the detachable disk drive compared to just getting the disk drive that's just the regular $500. So, I mean, there's some mixed feelings to this and all. So does this mean that we're going to get something like a PS5 Pro? I mean, with the Slim version happening, I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility that a PS5 Pro could technically happen. If it does, many speculation is going to be at 8K and everything like that, although I don't know how many people have a quote an 8K TV or anything like that. As for whether or not Microsoft might do a detachable disk drive, considering that Sony's doing this, though, I don't know if they're going to be doing one at this time, a detachable disk drive maybe for the Xbox Series S or anything like that, though, but I'm pretty sure they're keeping an eye out and seeing how well this detachable disk drive, this slim version that they're doing, because if it does take off, and I do think there is a very good chance it could, but if it does, then don't be surprised if you hear Microsoft do something very similar to what Sony's doing with this slim PS5 and the slim version with this detachable disk drive and all. So overall, I'm not sure really the idea of picking up a PS5 Slim if you already own a PS5 and you're okay with how it is right now and all. But I can see a reason to get this if you basically have yet to pick up a PS5 and are looking for maybe getting the Slim version so you can have more space wherever you put it, though. The question is whether or not it's worth the extra $80 to get the detachable disk drive if you decide to go for the digital version, or if you figure it's just best to just, get the $500 one with the disk drive already built into it. So it's really going to come down to how much money you're willing to spend on this PS5 Slim and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with the CEO of Unity stepping down following this whole debacle of a mess that happened over their changing in price and everything like that, that really created let's just say, pardon my language, they managed to get themselves on a lot of people's shit list and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Unity, as there was a major shakeup there, basically with the CEO, John Riccitiello, retiring, though. Now, as some of you are aware, though, Unity got into a lot of hot water when they made a certain change to some of their policies, which unfortunately upsetted a lot of developers, particularly small and indie ones, to be exact. It got to the point that Unity had to walk back some of the stuff or re-clarify the whole situation and all. Well, recently, though, it was later reported this week that the CEO was basically out. Like, he basically had to resign, though. While it comes off as that he left and everything like that, there's no denying the fact that I think a lot of it was the backlash that emerged over basically how this pricing policy they had for developers that did not, let's just say, sit very well with a lot of folks out there. In case you're wondering, that's sirens out there. It is what it is, though. Anyway, in an article from GameSpot, it reads that Unity Technologies has announced that John Riccitiello, the president and CEO and chairman of the game engine firm, has stepped down from most of his duties effective immediately. His step down comes not long after Unity made controversial pricing changes that upset many game developers. Unity later walked back some of those changes, though. Riccitiello, the former CEO of EA, will be replaced by James M. Whitehurst, if I'm saying the name correctly, who steps in as interim CEO. Unity is now conducting a search to find a permanent CEO to lead the company in the future. This person is the former president of IBM. On that one, Riccitiello became CEO in 2014. The company went public with an IPO in 2020, and since then the company's share prices have cratered. He will stay aboard in an advisory role for the time being during the transaction, though. He said in a statement, "I look forward to supporting the Unity through this transaction and following the company's future success, though." The new CEO, or the interim CEO, will receive a base salary of $1.12 million and award 200 stock options as part of his role as interim CEO. Riccatello, meanwhile, was offered a bonus on his way out. He was offered an extended executive period of 5 years to exercise any of his invest quality in Unity. The company chairman of the board said Riccatello was awarded this for all that he has done for Unity. However, Riccatello declined this extension. Riccatello will continue to earn his standard salary during the transaction, though. It's also pointed out in 2022, he called developers who didn't put microtransactions in their games effing idiots. He later apologized. So obviously, a lot of this is the downfall of him was because of what the change in the policy, which was basically a runtime fee that they were basically offering, or was based upon the number of times games made with Unity was installed. This wave of criticism, I think, ultimately was his ultimate downfall. And he's like other CEOs, some of the other CEOs out there, he's also known for a way of doing major controversies. And we saw what happened with him with EA in terms of all charging people by the bullets, that play certain shooter games and everything like that. And he's not the only CEO that has made some controversies or bad decisions. Phil Harrison was one example who handled Stadia, and we all know how that all played out, Stadia and everything like that. So it's hopefully whoever this next person is tries to avoid the mistakes that John Riccatello made and everything like that. But it does raise questions about some of these CEOs and some of their positions and how you do kind of wonder if they feel like they are just out of touch with, the average person, in this case, the average developer and all, particularly some of the small or indie developers that use Unity as a way to help, build and make their games and everything like that. So we'll see if this new interim CEO will be able to maybe win back the trust that was lost because of this policy that John Riccatello put out and everything like that. But time will ultimately tell on this one. So overall, obviously John Riccatello is now gone, or he'll be stepping down very soon. This interim CEO will be taking over. Whether or not this will win back the trust of some developers who felt, betrayed by Unity because of this policy change they tried to do, that remains to be seen and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to be the one that I think a lot of us been waiting to see this saga come to a close, and that is the Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard deal and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, it's going to be the one that I think a lot of us have been hoping to see end for, and it finally has come to an end, and that is the Microsoft Activision saga, with Microsoft officially now owning Activision Blizzard and all. Now, I'm sure back in January of 2022, when it was announced that Microsoft was going to buy Activision Blizzard for $69 billion, close to $70 billion and all, this kind of sends somewhat of a shockwave to see them make that kind of a purchase, though. And for me, though, I was very mixed on the decision of them buying Activision Blizzard, and I still remain mixed to this day and everything like that. But it was very interesting to see how this whole saga played out in terms of trying to get approval from regulators and everything like that. We saw sort of the major setback when back in April, the CMA blocked the deal and all, and many thought that this deal was going to be dead, but others like Michael Patchen, on the other hand, feel like this deal was going to go through no matter what, despite this setback and everything like that, with the possibility that maybe they carve out the UK and all. Then, of course, the European Commission basically gave their approval to the deal and all, which in a way kind of brought Brexit back in the spotlight, because you have a case where the UK said no, but the European Union said yes, and if the UK was still part of the European Union, they would have had to go with them on this. And we also saw other countries like Japan, China, Serbia. So Basically, a lot of other countries were saying yes, though. We're still waiting to hear from Australia and New Zealand and everything like that. And then, of course, there was, of course, the FTC trial that happened that in the end, the judge ruled in favor of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. It didn't feel like the FTC provided a strong enough of a case or for a reason why this deal should not go through, though. And this sort of brought some more life into it to the point that they decided, Activision Blizzard and Microsoft decided to extend the deadline to try to iron things out. It also led to the CMA decided to re-talk with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard in terms of seeing if there's a way forward in terms of this deal going through, though. So when it was announced that something was going to happen on Friday the 13th, which is a kind of a very, I kind of admit they could have picked a better day, not the luckiest day out there, but obviously for Activision Blizzard and Microsoft, it probably was. We started to see what was going to happen. Then, of course, yesterday, though, this video will be up on Saturday, but this is being recorded on Friday the 13th, there were reports of stock of Activision Blizzard stock stopping or halting, and many suspected that something was going to happen. Well, it turns out today, it did happen, though. It is official. Microsoft now owns Activision Blizzard. In an article from The Verge, it basically says that, quote, Microsoft has, let me get to that. Okay, there we go. Microsoft has finalized the $68.7 billion deal to acquire Activision Blizzard, the publisher of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo. The Verge exclusive reported last week that Microsoft was planning to close today, and now it's official. The acquisition required 20 months of battle with regulators in the UK, US, but Microsoft has closed its Activision deal after defeating the Federal Trade Commission in a US federal court and restructuring the deal to appease the competitive and CMA in the UK. According to Xbox Phil Spencer, they said, quote, we love games, we play games, we play games, create games, and know firsthand how much gaming means to all of us as individuals and collective, as a community. And today we officially welcome Activision Blizzard and their team to Xbox, says Phil Spencer. As one team, we learn, innovate, and continue to deliver on our promise to bring the joys and community of gaming to more people. We do this in a culture that strives to empower everyone to do their best work, where all people are welcome, and is centered in our ongoing commitment of gaming for everyone. He also pointed out basically a tweet, though, or a tweet to be exact, that said that today is a good day to play. We officially welcome Activision Blizzard's King to Team Xbox together. We create stories and all that stuff. It's basically from the article that he wrote, though. The deal is Microsoft's largest acquisition so far, in exceeding the $26 billion Microsoft paid to acquire Lincoln in 2016 and the $7.5 billion it paid to acquire Bethesda in 2021. This is Microsoft's biggest ever push into gaming too, and the company said at the original announcement of this mega deal that it will now be the third largest gaming company by revenue, behind Tencent and Sony, though. Microsoft now plans to add many of Activision Blizzard games to Xbox Game Pass. Today, we start the work to bring beloved Activision Blizzard and King franchises to Game Pass and other platforms, said Spencer. We share more about this when you can expect to play in the coming months. We're now excited, and we are too. Excuse me. Activision Blizzard made it clear earlier this week that Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 won't be coming to Xbox Game Pass this year, although there's been some back and forth on that one, to be exact. Though Microsoft hasn't provided an update on Xbox Game Pass subscription numbers since announcing 25 million subscribers along the original Activision Blizzard deal announcement in January 2022. Microsoft will now add more than 9 game studios from Blizzard side alone to the Xbox Game Studio, along game studios in more than 11 locations from the Mobile Gaming King side of the acquisition. Microsoft has also transformed into a publishing powerhouse after the acquisition, with more than 8,500 Activision employees now joining Microsoft. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick will remain in place to help with the transaction until the end of 2023. I have long said that I am fully committed to helping with this transaction, said Kotick in an email to Activision Blizzard's employees today. Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of Activision Blizzard, reporting to him, and we have agreed that I will do that through the end of 2023. We both look forward to working together on a smooth integration from our teams and players. On Friday, Microsoft also reiterated that it's committed to the labor neutrality agreement is stuck with the CWA in 2022 if the deal closed. Now, more than 16 months later, as Microsoft has closed its transaction to acquire Activision Blizzard, we affirm our commitment to our labor practices and innovation approach to union partnership, Microsoft Brad Smith wrote in a blog post. Microsoft remains steadfast in our support of our current and future employees in whatever choice they make about their workplace and their representative. Workers at Blizzard's Albany, New York office and Activision subsidiary Raven Software have been unionized, though. It also points out that the FTC appeals the decision in case and said it will continue to appeal. Microsoft and Activision's new agreement with Ubisoft presents a whole new face to the merger that will affect American consumers, which the FTC will assist as part of its ongoing administration process, said a spokesman from according to Reuters. The FTC continues to believe this deal is a threat to competition, though. So my position on this in general is that I'm still, as I mentioned earlier, still very mixed on this, though. On one hand, it does bring up some of the arguments about basically, the idea of these big corporations and all buying up these companies and controlling a lot of this stuff. So there is a legitimate argument that can be made on this, though. On the other hand, the other side of the coin, I could argue to be exact, is that we are hoping that with Microsoft now owning Activision Blizzard, that hopefully this is a change in culture at work and everything like that, that it addresses some of the concerns that employees have had under Bobby Kotick, including the fact that he's also was caught making threatening comments to an employee as well, that with him gone, that there could be a major change in the culture, and maybe we'll see an opening of more studios there, under Activision Blizzard now wanting to unionize, assuming that's the choice they want to make, though. And I'm hoping at the same time this opens the door to bringing back other IPs like, say, Prototype, to maybe another Pitfall game. I think Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure, if I'm saying the name correctly, that was a good game, and that came out during the PS2, GameCube, and the original Xbox era, though. And I'm hoping this also opens the door of Activision not being reduced to just simply a Call of Duty studio, that they could bring back some games, whether it's from the other studios, like, say, Blizzard, whether it's another entry in StarCraft or Warcraft, or even, dare I say, bring back the Lost Vikings or anything like that. So it opens the door to the possibility of a lot of these games seeing revivals and everything like that. A lot of these IPs that have remained dormant and all. And maybe this helps shake up the Call of Duty formula in a certain way. Maybe to give it an overhaul that most people would like to see happen, though. So it opens the door to a lot of possibilities that could technically emerge from this deal. So we'll have to see how this is all going to play out over time and all. But I am glad that this saga has come to an end, though. I think we could finally put it in our review mirrors once and for all, though. But like I said, there is some concerns I do have, and I am still mixed on this deal happening and all. But I will admit I'm not one of those that were basically hell-bent on not letting this deal go through, though. So overall, glad this deal has finally come to an end. We could finally put it through the rearview mirror, and it will be very interesting to see how Microsoft handles Activision Blizzard's IP, though, and see if they live by their words that they mentioned when they made the announcement back in 2022 that they were fully buying Activision and Blizzard and all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about this report coming out that AI was used to make the apology letter after what happened with the Lord of the Rings Gollum game? Do you think this was a very scummy decision for them to do, to be exact, though? Does this give you any confidence that they'll be able to fix the game in any way or in any shape or any form? What are your thoughts about the PS5 Slim, though? Do you agree with Sony releasing a PS5 Slim? Do you think it was the right move on their part? Are you planning to get a PS5 Slim? Are you happy with the current PS5 that you have right now? Do you think it's possible this could lead the way to the possibility of a PS5 Pro in any way? What are your thoughts about John Riccitiello retiring from Unity or stepping down, though? Do you think this was the right call for him to step down? Do you think the damage has already been done to Unity, though? Do you think the new or the interim CEO will be able to undo the damage that John Riccitiello did when he was CEO, but then had to step down because of this whole controversy situation? And finally, what is your thoughts about Microsoft now owning Activision Blizzard? Are you glad that this saga is finally over, though? Do you support the idea of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard? Are you against this? Do you have mixed feelings about the situation, to be exact? Do you think this can open the door to see a revival of old IPs like Hexen, Guitar Hero, Prototype, Pitfall, or other IPs that you feel that Activision Blizzard have left to remain dormant for so long? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.